I thought last volume had a lot of action. Things are at 11 at volume 43. So all the Straw Hats are fighting CP9, and Luffy and Lucia are at a standstill right in front of the gate, while Spandam is trying to get Nico Robin out of the gates. What I really liked about this volume, like I liked about the other one, is the Straw Hats, they all kind of get their moment. And actually, besides just getting their moment, a few of them get new moves that are really, really cool. So this is another volume of battles on top of battles on top of battles on top of battles. I can tell that we are nearing the end of the arc. Not only because I know it's the next two volumes, the last two of the arc, but just the way that it's paced, where everything is getting answered and everyone's having their battles to defeat the bad guys. So the first battle is Nami and Kefla. I know that Nami has had her moments in the past, but for some reason, she really came into her own with this battle. So Kefla ate the gum gum fruit, and her power is basically like soap powers. And she made Nami super clean. She looked real odd when she went for the super clean look. But when I say Nami came into her own in this battle, she held her own. Because I do feel like she has held her own in the past, but for some reason in my memory, someone kind of always helped her out or came to her rescue, but she really figured her own way out of the scenario to beat Kefla. Like doing the rain tempo to wash off the soap and to defeat Kefla, it was a genius move. I don't know, she really impressed me in this battle. That's right, Nami's not just a pretty face. She held her own. But then the battle came that was my favorite battle of this volume. And not just because I really like Sanji. It's actually, even the artwork in this battle is when Sanji hits the flambe shot, that panel, that full page panel. It's real good. It's really good. So Sanji and Jabra go at it. And I don't know if he's done this before with his feet on fire and like the flambe shot, but the way that Oda drew it, it seemed like a new power to me. I could be completely misremembering, but this seemed like he showed something that he has not shown before. But regardless, this battle, when Sanji appeared and said, "I'm the hunter," chill bumps. Like, such a good entrance from Sanji. And then we have Zoro versus Kaku, which ate the gum gum fruit and can turn into a giraffe. Zoro does the Azura, like 3 swords Azura attack. And Zoro does not mess around. He's always been tough. But when he said, "Oh, and also, I was told to tell you, you guys are fired," that's a real good moment. Now I'm about to get to Luffy and Lucci's fight. But really what stood out to me in this volume, besides that all the characters and everybody kind of had their moment and it was so good and so action-packed and so well drawn. I feel like these are some of the best fight scenes that Oda has drawn up to date. Like, sometimes you can get lost in shonen fight scenes, but I feel like this one, I never felt lost or there was so much going on screen that it just looked like a bunch of jumbled fists and fights. It was really, really well drawn. Then we get to the final fight of this volume, which is Luffy and Lucci. When he goes Gear 2, Luffy is so serious. He goes from this goofy, fun, and maybe that's in my mind, because the steam and everything's coming off him, but I feel like when he switches gears and goes to Gear 2, he means business. He is nothing to mess with when he shifts into Gear 2. And even Lucci transforms into his leopard self because he's like, "Oh, I underestimated you, but now I'm going to get serious." Lucci had to get serious or Luffy was going to wipe the floor with him. This is the second time that we've seen Gear 2 because he ate meat and regenerated, as he says. It's so fun. And like I said, I really hope there's other gears. Kind of, not to bite off like the Super Saiyan of everything, but I do hope Luffy kind of, and I would imagine, because again, it's still ongoing and I'm not even halfway to caught up to current. So I do feel like he is going to have other forms or other gears that he goes to, but I can't imagine what the next gear is going to be. I'm really excited to see that because it is so fun to read and watch him fight when he shifts into Gear 2. And then we end this volume on Nico Robin on the bridge, basically telling Spandam, "You're not taking me. We're not going to get off this bridge because they said they were going to save me." She found faith in her crewmates. And we also find out that Spandam's father is the one that basically ruined Nico Robin's life and hurt or killed anyone she held dear at the time. So as Spandam is trying to drag her away, he gets blown away by a shot, and standing on top of the roof in glory, Sniper King. Even the men around him are like, how is he so good? He's just so good. Usopp comes to the rescue, and it's Sanji and Zoro and everybody. Frankie is blocking the bullets of the men trying to shoot at Nico Robin. And Nico Robin finally has all the keys. Talk about a cliffhanger. Like, it's 11:15 at night when I'm recording this video. I would not be surprised if you guys get the next volume at around 1 a.m. I really want to read volume 44. So, I might go to sleep. I probably will read the next volume. So, I will see you next volume. This volume was 230 pages. It felt like 1,000. This is pretty much the culmination of this whole arc, is in volume 44. This volume I almost cried. I'm going to be honest with you. You can look at me, you can laugh, do whatever. There's a part towards the end where you don't get a little choked up, you're a monster. So we start this volume off with Frankie uncuffing Nico Robin, them getting her away, and then it's basically Luffy and Lucci, no holds bar fight for the rest of the volume. This fight was so well done, which is great because this fight was basically built up since the beginning of this arc. So for Oda to pull it off, A+ effort. And I think it was last volume I said, he has a Gear 3. He shifts into another gear where he basically like blows up his thumb to like giant, and there's like it looks like an air bubble kind of travels through him and makes like a limb giant. Luffy destroys the whole side of a building with one punch. Like One Punch Man who? Luffy just destroyed a whole building. One punch. And as this battle is going on, the Straw Hats are basically getting drowned in the underground tunnel. And they're saved by Koroko, which is, I guess, a ice mermaid now? And they said when they reach a mature age, their fins split in half so they can live on the land. Sanji had a pretty funny moment where he was like kind of going in and out of consciousness, and he thought it was a beautiful mermaid. And, you know, Koroko has, you know, she's not young. Say that. I just feel like this volume was brimming with emotion. Because it was kind of the Straw Hats coming together to pick their captain up. To pick Luffy up. And it really showed how much faith everybody has in him. Every single one of them, even the people they just met, like Frankie and his crew, everybody just has faith in Luffy. They know him as a captain and him as a person will always push himself to the limit for his friends and his crewmates. And that is shown nothing more than when Usopp stands on the edge. And Usopp this time, not his alter ego. Luffy's on the ground and he's spent. And Usopp's like, come on, fight me. And Luffy's like, no, he'll kill you. He will kill you. And he's like, well, if you can kill me, get up then. And he's pushing him. He's like, get up. Boy, when Luffy gets up, he goes back to Gear 2 and it's bad news for Lucci. He didn't stand a chance when Luffy got up. And so Luffy defeats Lucci, and over the radio it's told that Straw Hat Luffy has defeated him. And everyone's kind of blown away, but there's still that Buster call. Luffy can't move. Their ship, their escape ship they had, is surrounded by other ships. There's no way to get out. But then everybody starts hearing this voice. And you know the moment I was saying where I almost cried and choked up? It's the rest of this volume after this with the merry-go. Man, Oda made me care for a ship. A ship! I was blown away. So everyone starts hearing this voice. And Usopp looks at Nico Robin and says, hey, can you push Luffy into the ocean? Again, Luffy can't swim, so they're like, what? And then this voice starts, everyone starts hearing it. And they all jump into the ocean. The merry-go's there. It's there to save them. And everyone's confused and they don't understand. But they use the whirlpool that when the gates are opening has created. And they end up escaping on the merry-go. The merry-go was the reason that they escaped. And as they make their escape, they come across a ship, and it's Iceberg. When they reach the edge of Iceberg's ship, the merry-go starts to break apart, starts to crumble. None of the crew want it to crumble. Luffy says, this is our crewmate, this has taken us so far. Come to find out, Iceberg, when the big wave came in, the ship was damaged and Iceberg came across it. And he actually repaired it and he didn't understand why. And then he heard the voice. And the merry-go says, I want to sell one more time. And he fixes it and it goes off on its own. Which in a lot of other stories you're like, this is so cheesy, this is so hokey. But the way he does it, it's not hokey. Like, it hit me. It nailed its target with me. And so we end this volume because Luffy says the ocean floor is dark and lonely. The merry-go is burned. And everyone's trying to hold it together. Except for Chopper. He's Chopper. He's letting his emotions fly. And Luffy screams, I'm sorry. We should have taken better care of you. And they all kind of have their moment with the merry-go. And what it meant for them. And the merry-go says, there's no reason to be sorry. Thank you for caring about me. I was happy. As it burns. It was one of the best endings to a volume that I've read so far. And I guess I have one more volume for the Water 7 arc. I'm imagining it's not going to be like this, because this was a volume. But yeah, let's see how they wrap everything up in volume 45. We have finally reached the end of the Water 7 arc. And what a journey it's been. So after the very emotional ending of volume 44, volume 45 is pretty much the let's set up the next arc type of volume. But it has some really great moments in it too. One of the first things we get to do is we get to meet Luffy's grandfather. And I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't think he had a grandfather. Let alone, the head admiral of the Navy. That was a twist. Not as big a twist as his father, who is the big criminal dragon. One of the most notorious criminals of the Revolutionary Army. Just gonna throw that in there, huh, Oda? Here's his grandfather, and here's his father. Luffy's family reunion must be real weird. Not only do we get to meet his grandfather, we actually get to meet Again, Kobe, who was in like the first arc of One Piece, and now he's grown up with also Helmeppo. I was gonna do the joke because in the manga, they no one really like talks to him at all. They're all like, "Who are you? I don't know you." But yeah, Kobe and Helmeppo, which was a cool throwback. We actually get a few of those in this volume. And then after that, his grandfather decides they're not gonna arrest him. They're not gonna take him away. They're gonna let him go. And they throw this big party where Nico Robin has a conversation with Aokiji, and he basically says that he was friends with Saul the giant that was trying to help her when she was younger, and his whole mission was to make sure she didn't waste her life. And he thought she had a death wish, and that's why he was just going to let her meet her end. But now he has found out that she has friends and crewmates that care for her. So to make sure not to waste her life. And she says she will not. That was a really nice and sweet moment to cap off what I think was the main story of Water 7, which was Nico Robin finding her place in the crew. And all the while, Frankie and his family are rebuilding them a new ship. What Frankie says is going to be his master ship, his master blueprint. But in the middle of this, it kind of cuts to Shanks and Whitebeard. Shanks, who I have, if I remember correctly, I have not seen for a while. Him and Whitebeard have this conversation about Ace, another character that I really want to see and haven't seen for a while. We haven't seen for a while up until that exact point. Later on in the volume, we will get to it. I feel like Ace is going to be a big thing in the coming arc. A very cool part about this conversation is they kind of talk about the 7 warlords and the 4 emperors and this ominous tone, which is kind of capped off where they both draw their swords and lightning strikes, and someone's like, oh, they split the clouds, and someone's like, no, they split the heavens. First of all, Whitebeard has to be 11 feet tall. Like, he has to be huge. But I also, does him and Shanks have powers? Have they talked about that before and I missed it, or have they not talked about it, or do they not have powers? Like, don't spoil it, but like, let me know if they've talked about it before and I've just forgotten. And then we are cut back to Water 7, where the crew is informed that they have new bounties on their heads. And Luffy's is like 300 million, Zoro's is like 140. Sanji, that drawing of Sanji is real good. It was, his reaction and the actual drawing was really, really good. But he's at 77 million, but it's so good. Usopp or Sniper King's at 50 million. I think Nami's at like 30 million. And then you have Chopper at 50. Yeah, that's it, just 50. That raging monster. 50 berries, that's all you need. That's it for that one. After they discover their bounties, they go to see the new ship that Frankie and Iceberg and the family have built for them. Frankie's not there, but Iceberg says, I'll unveil the ship to you. And it's just beautiful, gigantic ship. So nice, and everyone's so excited. Luffy asks Iceberg, where's Frankie? I want to thank him for it. And Iceberg tells him he doesn't want to be here because he knows that if you ask him to be your shipwright, he can't say no. And he believes that the family needs him. And that Tom's legacy and the sins that he made for in the past, he still has to answer for him in present. And that is to protect the family that he has built in the city. But he really wants to go with Luffy. What follows is maybe one of the weirdest, funniest, odd things One Piece has ever done. So to lure Frankie back to the ship and make him accept the shipwright position, they steal his trunks. And this man runs bottomless through the city as it's basically playing hot potato with everyone in the family because they want him to go. Luffy and the crew, and they lead him to the ship where he is bottomless. Frankie and Iceberg have a heart-to-heart, and Frankie wants to agree, but there's something holding him there. Nico Robin has a solution for that, and she uses her powers to, how do I say this? Persuade him is the best I am going to say about that. And it works! And Frankie is now part of the crew. He has joined the crew. So they're all on the ship except for Usopp. When Sanji comes in and tells him Usopp wants to come back, he was practicing his apology. And Luffy's like, yes, yeah, let's have him back. But Zoro brings up a good point. You can't let him back because whether you're a knucklehead or not, you're a captain. You rank higher than me. Which I think says a lot about Zoro's character. And that's why he grows on me so much is he is that guy that he does have his own thoughts, but he respects the code of the pirate more than anyone on that ship. Which I actually don't know if he is the oldest, but it makes him come off as the most mature one on the ship. Nico Robin's a close second, but it makes him come off as the most mature and the most of... And he even says this, we're not playing games of being pirates, we are pirates. Which makes Luffy agree. He's not going to Usopp and saying he's going to take him back. Usopp has to come to them, and he has to admit that he's sorry. So Luffy waits for Usopp for days to come by. Nothing. They set sail, but are intercepted by his grandfather, and Luffy said, I thought you were going to let us pass, and he was like, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to send you to a watery grave. This old man can chuck a cannonball at incredible speeds. This man is throwing so many cannonballs at him, and they're trying to escape, and Usopp comes running. Goes over all these scenarios that he played in his head to basically be like, to not take any responsibility for what he did that led them to that battle. But he never took responsibility. And everyone on the ship is talking to Luffy and Zoro and say, I know you can hear him, I know you can hear him. And they both say, we can't hear anything. And Usopp finally sees them actually not turning around. And it's such a good moment. And he sees that they're not going to turn around. And he said, well, let me just say one more thing. And he screams, I'm sorry. And that's when Zoro and Luffy perk up and say Usopp. And Luffy stretches out with his hand and pulls Usopp to the ship and says, we're all here. Now let's go. I know I've said this multiple times in this arc. That was a goosebump moment. That was such a good moment. Thankfully, Frankie has outfitted this ship with anything you can think of, and they jet set blast away. Kobe is happy, and his grandfather even smirks. And the funny part about it is, they're trying to capture him, but they're happy he escaped. Which goes into what I think this arc did the best, which was it showed Luffy and his crew the effect that they can have on the people around them. It is shown a little bit in the other arcs, but I feel like this arc really nailed it home. And I don't know if it's because a lot of it had to do with a crew member, but it really showed Luffy and his ability to affect even his enemies in a positive way. And yes, he wants to be this pirate, this naturally what is considered garbage or bad, profession or person. But he does it with such love and the innocence of a child that it makes his friends and enemies either become better people or become worse people to defeat him. Nevertheless, and I believe that in this arc, more than any up to this point, even his crew members have considered him a captain. And multiple people have spoken into existence. That's the king of the pirates. He's starting to make other people believe and see his dreams that he believes in himself. And people are realizing the confidence that people might think of as naive is not that. He knows what he wants and he's going to get it no matter what. And I think this arc shows that 1,000%. And it made it one of the most entertaining arcs up until this point. And to that point, the last chapter really is going from his hometown, Nami's hometown, Zoro's dojo, Sanji's ship, and it goes through the world up until this point, and we get to see all of the side characters that we've met along the way, and the effect that our crew has had from their journey up until this point. And it was such a cool little last chapter. It almost made it feel like East Blue, the Alabaster arc, and this arc was like one section. And now we're about to jump into obviously the same story, but a new set of arcs. I feel like, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I feel like you can lump these 3 arcs together. And now, from now on, it's kind of like a new set of arcs. This was this, and it really felt like a bookend to the beginning of our journey, and now we're going on forward into our journey. Because it finally ends with, we get to see more Ace, and he's battling Tetch, which killed one of his own crewmates because they got the devil fruit. And Ace still looks in tip-top shape with his flames, and Tetch looks like his devil fruit is the darkness. And that's how it ends, with these two facing off against each other. This was by far the most dense, entertaining, and story-driven arc, in my opinion, up until this point. It feels like it packed so much, and not only comedy, action, good storytelling, but you learned a lot about all of the crew members. And not only that, it introduced 2 more crew members to the ship. And not only that, you get a new ship. Like, I just feel like there was so much in this arc that it finally feels like I'm starting to live in this One Piece world. Not actually live, because I would like a gum fruit. I don't want to be a normal human being if we're living in a One Piece world, but what I mean actually by that is this is the first arc that drew me in and showed me what this manga is capable of, and probably what it goes on to achieve in future arcs. And I am so excited to start the next arc. But yes, as always, I appreciate if you watch to the end of this video. I feel like this video is going to be incredibly long. Like, I don't know. But if you watched this entire thing and listened to me ramble about One Piece, I wholeheartedly appreciate you. And also, you guys that are commenting and we're talking back and forth, I love that. Like, thank you so much for, like, welcoming me into, like, the One Piece. I feel like the fandom. I feel like I'm a fan now. I feel like I can say that. I'm learning. I'm new, you know. I'm like a new member. I'll get to an admiral one day, maybe. But yeah, most of you guys are so cool in the comments and so excited for me to read One Piece, something that you guys have enjoyed for a very long time. And I just appreciate that. And I'm having so much fun reading this and doing these videos. So, as always, thank you so much. And until the next arc, I'll see you.